What's happening? What's happening? Steve Wilkos is dramatic. um, I know I'm probably stating the obvious, but it's like a mixture between Maury Povich and Jerry Springer. Of course, it's gonna have Jerry Springer influence, being that Steve Wilkos came from Jerry Springer. But yeah, that's a dramatic show. It's a dramatic show. The first, I saw 3 scenes. So apparently, there's usually 5 scenes for the day. I know a lot of people stay for morning and afternoon tapings, but nah, not me. This is not a work day for me. Um, to me, that's work to get to the place at 10 o'clock in the morning and then to leave at like 5 o'clock in the evening. Nah, unless I was one of the guests or one of the staff, I am not staying until 5. I think 10 to 2:23 is long enough. Not that it wasn't good. Maybe if I lived here and I had nothing else to do, I probably would stick around for the afternoon tapings, but I never stick around for the afternoon tapings. So this is in CT, which took me about an hour drive to get here. They told me to be here at 10:15, and because of what I have come to expect from going to these New York shows, come here by 10:15 means if you're here at 10:15, you might not even get in. So I got here definitely before 10:15. I was not trying to drive out to Connecticut and then get sent home, because that would be even worse than when I didn't get into the view. So I got here still fairly late. I think I got here like 9:45, but I was one of the first 5 people in line, so I was surprised by that. The person called me twice to say, make sure you're here at the latest by 10:15. They were still letting people in after 10:30. It was a lot different of a scenario than it is in New York. Like, this area that we're in here is kind of a much nicer looking area. First of all, the line was a lot more orderly. The people were just more friendly in general. We stood out there. The only thing they asked for was just the ID, and then we got in pretty much right away. But then we were sitting in the holding area forever. That's kind of a difference than what I'm used to expecting. Like, we're just sitting there waiting and waiting. Nobody's saying anything. We're just waiting and chilling and sitting in there. I don't really know why they got us in there so early when it was like an hour and a half before we even went into the studio. But that's neither here nor there. We get the warm-up guy. The warm-up guy is pretty funny. He did like some games and he had people come and stand up front. They're not such a stickler with recording as other shows that I've been to, but then again, I guess the reason why is because it's not live. So live shows, the security in the shows that I've been to is just looking at everybody. If you have your phone out, you're gonna get kicked out. So that was a different experience. They don't let you have your phones on during the actual taping segments, but in between all the segments, they allow you to tape whatever you want, take pictures, take videos. I didn't do too much of that because I'm kind of used to the standard protocol of the live shows, but it's okay. There was not really that much to tape. I did get a couple of quick videos of the studio itself and a couple of pictures in the studio. The studio is nice, but apparently they don't believe in heat because, boy, it was cold in there. I was freezing. They sat me front and center, which happens almost every show that I've attended. They're like, sit in the front and the middle. Except in this show, there was a huge camera facing me, and I don't know. I feel like I was probably on the camera a lot. I don't know when this is gonna come out though, because it's not live. But when the first set of guests came out, it was a man and his wife. They said the wife has. They did a lie detector test basically to see how much each one has cheated on the other one, and determined the husband cheated, the wife cheated 10 times, and the husband cheated 7 times. And this is within 1 year of marriage. But the energy they had when they first came out, I'm gonna be honest, it looked like a stage play. Good morning, Tammy, or good afternoon, morning or afternoon. It looked like a stage play to me. It really did. I was like, is this real? Because this energy is kind of, you just walk out, you know that you did this, and you know that you ain't ish, and I'm like, I always feel that way about like Jerry Springer, Maury. This is a totally different show than the type of show that I'm used to going on, because I'm not gonna say it's acting per se. I mean, the stories have some truth to them, I'm sure, but they get kind of hyped up. They get kind of hyped up with the cameras being on. I can definitely tell they get hyped up with the cameras being on, and possibly even prepare what they're going to be saying and doing beforehand, especially the ones that are cool with each other. Yeah, so that was the first one. The second one, I think they did a paternity test. I think they did a test as well to see if the father, if the guy was the father, and the test determined he was the father of this daughter. The second one was this couple that the husband heard, didn't see, but heard the wife on this camera that he had set up, and said that she was cheating. It was weird. It was a weird one. But the lie detector test said it was a lie. And the third one, no. The third one was the most real seeming one of all three of them, because that kind of energy, I don't know. If it was not real energy, I don't know. That was one of the greatest live performances I've ever seen. This lady punched the set. She was on the ground screaming and crying. Yeah, so overall, I had fun. If this was in New York and I didn't have anything else that I had to do in the evening, I probably would have stayed, because I'm not going to be coming back to Steve Wilkos in Connecticut a bunch of times, but I had other things to do, and I also didn't want to sit here all day, so I'm out of here. But it was a good experience. Wednesday, I'm going back to Sherry Shepherd. Sherry Shepherd is fun, but this is just, to me, a whole different. I've gone on like daytime TV mostly. The other shows that I've been on are mostly like daytime TV. Nick Cannon show, Sherry Shepherd, Wendy Williams show, The Chew, Good Morning America. Like, daytime TV is a whole different thing. First of all, we don't see anyone cussing and cursing and carrying on those shows. They're very prim and proper. This is more like raw and uncut. They're saying a lot more stuff on these shows, but it was fun in its own way. They probably caught some of my facial expressions as certain things were going on, because I'm like, yo, this is kind of wild. The things that they're saying are kind of wild right now. And Steve himself is pretty funny, man. Steve is a funny guy. Steve Wilkos, he's a funny guy. It's interesting though, watching the differences. Well, it's interesting to me because not everybody is into the intricacies of creating a production and videos and stuff like that, but I am. So it's interesting to see the differences between how they put together a live taping of something versus how they put together something that is pre-recorded. Hi Trisha. So being that this one is pre-recorded, it means extra long taping. They redo things. One time I think Steve said someone he was doing the paternity test of a daughter. He read the wrong paternity test to the wrong person. Had to do it over again. I'm like, that is kind of crazy. So cool that you get to see that part of it. Yeah, so I kind of like, Trisha, I feel like I know more than the average person when it comes to production. Not that I've ever been a part of a production team, but I do like videography and photography, and also when I've gone on these TV sets, I pay really close attention to the way they do things. It's part of what gives me such intrigue about Big Brother, and when people talk about Big Brother, what's real and what's fake on Big Brother. Big Brother is like a TV set that goes on for 80 plus days. Like, it's crazy. And I think that those people at first, before they go on the show, are kind of prepared to do and say certain things. And then they get on the show, and then after a while, they probably lose some of their sense of reality. Because it's like, we're on this set, we live on this set, we're always on this set. What's real now? I'm absolutely loving that you're doing what you're interested in and really enjoy working towards a goal while watching the messiness too. Yeah. Sorry about that, y'all. I actually had the heat on in the car, and then I had the phone lodged on the heater, so then the phone heated. That was dumb. So I'm gonna have to endure this cold ride after leaving that cold studio to continue this video. And I wanted to continue the video since I'm not really gonna have much in terms of video footage. I didn't take that much video footage. This live is pretty much gonna recap. But what I was saying before the phone cut off is that for those who don't know, I am on some time off from work. I will be off until January. So that's the reason why I even have the time to do this. Because normally I'm doing my regular 9 to 5 stuff. And as you can see, and as you might be able to tell, or as maybe you just remember me saying, that's not my life. I feel like I've been living a life for years that I've just had to live because that felt like the only option. But that's not really me. I like to get a chance to do things that are less rigid, less structured, things that I enjoy. And that's the reason why I'm trying to squeeze as much as I possibly can into these next 7 weeks. Good morning. Hello, chat. I'm sitting on the top. Sure. Yeah, this is another new one, Shanna. This is another new one for me. I have not been on the Steve Wilkos show before. There's not too many more in my area, really, that there is for me to see. I think the only ones that I haven't seen that are close enough by that I don't have to really travel that far to get to is just The View. And, well, there's a few others. There's a few others. There's The View. There's The Daily Show. What is the other one? What is it? The Late Night Show with Seth Meyers. I think those are the only 3 that I can think of right now that I haven't been to. But I'm going back to the Sherry Shepherd show on Thursday. I go back to shows too. If I like it when I go there the first time, I go back. So I'm definitely going to be back to Tamron if I can at some point. I'm going to be back to Sherry. I can't remember the other one that I went to. It is a possibility. It's a possibility that I would come back for this one, but it's not going to be tomorrow. I'm going to be honest. It's not going to be like tomorrow that I would come back to the show. Nothing wrong with it, but it's just a lot. Like, you get there and spend like 4.5 hours there. And of the 4.5 hours that you spend there, maybe like 1 hour of the 4.5 hours is taping. Now, if it was something that I went to with some friends, because that's basically the people that I saw staying. Like, if I had a group that I was there with, I think that in that particular case, I would be like, yeah, we're making a day out of it. They take a lunch break. That's when I'm leaving. So they take like an hour lunch break, and then you go back into the studio, or you can go back into the studio. I'm not really gonna announce really what, but I will say that I met some people there that I exchanged some contact information with that might have some work for me, which would be cool. So we'll see. If that works out, I might announce that. But I'll just say that it's pertaining to doing things like this and getting paid to do it. A lot of people feel that way, Shanna. I'm not even going to say that the Sherry Shepherd show is my favorite show. I'm not going to say that. I mean, I only was there once and I never watched it outside of that. So I'm not going to say that the Sherry Shepherd show is my favorite show. But I just like going to shows in general, and Sherry Shepherd is nice. I didn't like the Wendy Williams show. I'm sorry. I mean, I understand why she had the show, and that she's like a one-of-a personality and talent. That's how she got to where she was, but I wasn't watching the Wendy show like that. And it's funny because of all the shows that I went to, my favorite one to attend was the Nick Cannon show, which got canceled. So I had an unpopular show as my favorite, but like I've said before, not because I thought the show was the greatest thing that I've ever seen, just because Nick Cannon himself was really nice. Everybody in the studio. I went to the Amber Ruffin show. Wendy was better on the radio. Yeah, I agree actually, Shanna, I agree. I definitely agree with that. I definitely agree with that. I liked Wendy on the radio better than I liked her on the Wendy Williams show. I hope Wendy Williams is going to be okay, but just based on what I've seen of her, it's sad. It's sad to see present day Wendy. Like, I wonder about her health. I wonder about her mental health, physical health, emotional. Yeah. But yeah, like I was saying at the beginning, for those who didn't see it, the Steve Wilkos show reminds me of like a little halfway mixture in between a Jerry Springer and Maury Povich. I don't know if people usually have fights. Do people usually have fights on the Steve Wilkos show? Because the last lady was dropping all kind of F-bombs and calling the lady that said she had a child with the lady's daughter. I can't even explain it. You would have to see the episode. And I don't know like what kind of order these episodes drop in. like if you do them today and they air the next day, or if they don't air for months, I don't know. I just know it's not a live show, so I'm not sure about any of that. But I had a good time. I always have. I don't think I've gone to a show. I did go to one show that I didn't love, but the show wasn't bad. The show wasn't bad. It's just like the whole process of boarding, getting there and boarding and all that stuff, sometimes makes the experience a little bit less enjoyable. This one was alright. But I'm so used to these live tapings in New York to where you just get to the studio, they put you right in, and then they're like, okay, the show airs from 10:30 to 11:30. So they get you into the studio, you're in there 10:30, you're out there 11:30, and I'm home by like 12:30, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm not used to a taping where I get there and I stay there for 4.5 hours. And some of those people were staying there till 5. Like after 5, they were gonna go on a break and come back. Thanks, Victoria. They're gonna go on a break and come back. That's a whole work day to me. I'm not staying at a studio that long unless I'm getting paid. Or I guess if I was coming from out of town or something, like I was making a trip from another state, not New York, but a state that's far away that I couldn't drive from, I might stay for the experience. But then I'm also thinking to myself, I'm losing a whole day on a set. But I'll tell you something. This show to me is like a stage play. It looks like you're watching. It's so dramatic because one person is standing on the other side and the other person is standing on this side. Steve's standing in the middle, and this person is going on this long monologue. They're like, how dare you talk to me like that? You lying Jezebel. You knew that my son was only sleeping with you until he knew that you were going around with all these other men like the blank you are. So do not put my son's name in your mouth. It's like, I can't even explain it because I've been to stage plays and it really felt like a stage play. The only thing that was missing was the lights, you know, like the spotlights going on the person in the middle who's doing the monologue. I'm like, there's no way that you didn't prepare this speech and practice it in the mirror before you got on the stage. There's no way. There is no way. So glad for you. You make me want to move back to New York. Where do you live now, Shanna? Yeah, New York. I don't know if I'm going to stay in New York. I mean, I'm not going to stay in New York, but I'm enjoying the last hurrah that I have here until I move elsewhere. There's some fun parts of New York, but overall, for me, New York is a hard living. And I need to live somewhere that I can be a lot less stressed out. I never even had an intent to stay in New York. As a matter of fact, when I first moved to New York from Canada, I hated it. I hated it. I was like, I have to get out of here as soon as possible. I don't even know how I ended up staying this long. People ask me how long I've been in New York, and I'm like, shoot, 10 years. New York was actually supposed to be a pit stop for me, and I've been here for 10 years. I'm not sure where I'm moving, Victoria. I've thought about North Carolina. I've thought about moving back to Canada. I've been to Ohio. I don't like Ohio. No, I'm not gonna say I don't like Ohio. The reason why I'm saying that is because I used to go to school in Michigan, so I drove from New York to Michigan and from Massachusetts to Michigan. And I remember getting this huge speeding ticket in Ohio. The ticket was like $180 for being 6 or 7 miles over the speed limit. And they were like, oh, anything from 1 to 20 miles over is the same fee, I guess you would call it. And I was so pissed. I did drive to save money. And then that one ticket alone was like a plane ticket worth of ticket. I have friends that live in North Carolina, so I've been there several times. They live in Clayton. They live in Clayton, North Carolina. The only reason why, well, when I was thinking of moving there before, it didn't happen because of my dad being sick. Honestly, that's a big part of the reason why I'm still here in New York. Help out my mom. And also my dad is here, so as long as he's here and as long as she's here, I don't necessarily see myself leaving here right now. But ideally, I don't see myself living in New York for the rest of my life. But there's a lot of, I feel like right now is a good time for me because of the fact that I can form a lot of connections. I can be seen over here. Being in New York is aiding me towards getting certain things that I want. I don't just go to these TV sets and TV shows just for the fan experience. I've been doing this stuff more since the time I've been running this page. A lot of what I'm doing now is for the sake of this page, actually, because yes, I did go to some TV shows before, but we're talking, I was going 1 to 2 per year, and I've probably been to like 5 or 6 in the last month and a half. Sorry about that, y'all. The connection is always shoddy when I'm driving in and out. These shows are fun. I would go if I could, and of course, your page. Yeah, the shows are fun. I enjoy the shows. This one is the most different one that I've ever been to, because the ones that I have been to are usually like positive motivational topics. And this one was like, you know, a lot of Big Brother fans would probably like the Steve Wilkos show because it's so dramatic. It's so dramatic. And a lot of people like drama a lot. So definitely dramatic, and it's definitely entertaining. The set is nice. The Steve Wilkos set is nice, and the studio is nice. Nicer than any studios that I've been to in New York. But it's cold in there. Like, these people do not believe in heat, and they don't let you wear your jacket, so turn up the heat. I know you're trying to save money, but man, I was freezing in there. One thing I didn't like was how the Q person kept telling us to be quiet, because I'm used to the live shows where they're like, we want you to make as much noise as possible. Whereas on this one, they only want you to make cued noise. So while the people are speaking and having their monologues and talking to each other and all that stuff, they don't want us to laugh, they don't want us to smile, they don't want us to say anything. They're like, the camera's picking that up, they're picking this up, we don't want to hear any of that. And then when they cue you in, then you're allowed to laugh and comment and all that. but so much of it was funny to me. I was sitting right in the front center, and I couldn't. They kept looking at me because I couldn't stop laughing. Like I was watching this. Like I don't know if this is supposed to be serious, but it's just not. The things they're saying, you wouldn't be able to sit there and watch those things without being in tears laughing. Because I was in tears at some point. Like this is so funny. This is so, even they know it's funny. Even some of the people that were there on the show, like they were actually the guests for the show, even some parts they were laughing. Like they know. It reminds me, I think back to like the Jerry Springer days where the people would come on the show and be like, I'm in love with this horse. This horse is my husband. And Jerry would be asking the questions like they're serious. So met this horse. It was love at first sight. As soon as he went, ah, I knew he was the one. It's like, do you kiss your horse? Yes, yes, me and my horse, we make out. It's like, Steve, I don't know, man. I don't know how these people just don't laugh the whole time while they're trying to do the show, because it's not serious to me. It's not. It's just I can't take anything that happened on that set seriously. Even though some of those stories, or maybe all those stories, were real, I don't know. There was this one lady who said that she has a possum, a cat, a ferret, like all these different animals, and the husband heard her talk to the animals and said that she was sleeping with a guy. She brought a guy in the house and she was sleeping with him. They played the audio and she was calling the hamsters the hamsters and the possums and the ferret by name or whatever. And I was laughing and other people were laughing, and she was like, I know this is funny to you guys, but this is a serious situation. It's like, and it might be costing us our marriage, so it's not funny. So they did a lie detector test to determine whether she was cheating on him, or if she brought a guy in the house, or if she was just calling the names of her pets. And the lie detector test determined that she was telling the truth. She kept looking at the audience. I'm like, y'all, it was her, I think her second time on there. Come on, man. You're there for the TV. That one was like the most scripted looking one probably of the three. But it's all good. I mean, it provides people their entertainment fix, you know? It's not the type of thing that I would be watching every day, but it's a funny thing to go to once in a while. I might bring some friends back to the Steve Wilkos show, because we don't have Jerry anymore. Judge Jerry. I know there's Judge Jerry. I know it's actually filmed in that building. That building has Judge Jerry and Karamo and something else. NBC Universal Studio. Am I missing some comments here? No. Yeah, I'm gonna keep showing you guys, at least for the next 2 months. I could watch every day, but I would enjoy watching it live at least. Or does that say I couldn't watch it every day? Yeah, to be honest with you guys, like I'm not huge into that type of drama. Now, I'm not gonna say I never was, because I remember I watched all the reality TV shows, not all, but a lot of reality TV shows. I used to watch Flavor of Love. I watched Rock of Love. I watched For the Love of Tila Tequila. I watched I Love New York. I watched Real Chance of Love. I watched College Hill, Baldwin Hills, The Real World. That was one of the first ones that I really started to like. What else? Obviously The Challenge. I watched a bunch of the VH1 and the BET shows and the MTV shows. That was mainly my wheelhouse. And a lot of those were really, really, really dramatic. So there was a time when I loved all of that. Now, obviously, I still love some drama because look, I watch Big Brother. There's a lot of it on Big Brother, but there's levels to it. There's only so much that I can intake. There's only so much and so often that I can intake that type of stuff. That's why I'm glad the Big Brother season is only 3 months. And I say only loosely because 3 months is a pretty long time for that type of show. But if it was longer than that, man, I would be way too wrapped up in it for way too long. I was losing sleep capturing live feeds and stuff for Big Brother. I watched a lot of reality TV. Yeah, I used to live off of reality TV. Now there's only like a handful of shows that I watch that are reality TV. I can't do it as much anymore, especially not this kind. Especially not this kind. I think about these shows and I think about when people have big dramatic reactions. Not people as in fans, but like the people on the shows having these really big dramatic reactions. I think to myself, do some of them just kind of forget the cameras are there and get wrapped up in their emotions? Or is this their regular emotions magnified knowing that they are on TV and people are watching? I can only speculate about that. I don't know, because I've never been featured on a TV show. The closest thing that I can ever say is like when I do certain events and I book my own videographer to capture my events, like when I captured Kenny's workout. For me, I wasn't like talking to the cameras except for when prompted, but it was just kind of like I can't really focus on the camera because if I'm paying attention to the camera, I can't give my most authentic self. So if it was me on there, I would be more focused on Steve and I would be more focused on whoever it is that is the other guest or whoever I'm there with, or trying to prove that I'm telling the truth or lying or whatever the case is. I would be focused less on the camera part. But I think it varies. I mean, some guests are more there for TV than others. Like some of them are actually, their situation that they're talking about is more real. And some of them is like, I just want the airtime and I want to be really dramatic. Hi, Shy and Ashley. I'm just on my drive home from the show. The show is not done taping, but they were done with the morning taping. They're doing an afternoon taping starting at 3:30, and I was like, nah. Something about the Jerry Springer show being scripted. The times that I watched Steve. What was the documentary about? I've always assumed that the Jerry Springer show is scripted. Hit the like button, by the way, if you are on here and enjoying my live. Please hit the like button. Yeah, I assume so. I assume that Jerry Springer was scripted. I know that even something like judge cases are real. The rulings are final. It's not like real cases for Judge Judy, and it's like more for entertainment purposes. They get paid for coming on there, obviously. They get paid, the defendant gets paid. Whoever wins, whoever loses, the show pays the winner. So it's basically like a way to just absolve themselves of having to pay for the case, whatever it is, and to get themselves their trip and their airtime. about how the people that were on the show were told what to do, almost like a script. Like, you know what, Victoria? I felt like that's what it was. Cause I'm sitting here, the first guy walks out, and he does this like long monologue, and it's very dramatic. It's like a very dramatic monologue, and I'm like, who talks like this? And then why is the other person quiet? Like, why are they not responding? And then I noticed that was the same blueprint the next couple of guests followed. The person walked out from the back. Oh, everybody introducing Dan. And then Dan stands there for like 5 minutes talking while the other person stands on the other side saying nothing. And I'm like, this looks and sounds prepared. It was entertaining for sure, but real, I don't know. I tend to not think so. But what do I know? A lot, actually. I know a lot. I know a lot about this TV world, which makes it harder to watch TV shows and not think about those things that I know and I've seen. Like, I've told people about when I went to the Wildin' Out show 6 or 7 years ago when it was in New York. And it's like a 20-minute show on TV. It's like 20 minutes. But for that 20-minute episode, it's like 2 hours of taping. So they call it improv. There's some improv aspects to it, because they are like coming up with some of the jokes. However, they'll do a whole segment and then they'll retape the whole segment if it wasn't good. They'll huddle up, they'll think of different jokes, tape the whole segment all over again. Like the episode that I watched, the episode that I attended of Wildin' Out, and then when I saw it on TV, I was like, this is not the same show. This can't be the same show that I attended. It doesn't even look the same. Well, he was Jerry's security, and I'm sure they copy some of the... Yeah, I'm sure they do. I'll have to find out for you, and I'll send it or share it with the fam. Yeah, that would be interesting to know, Victoria. That would definitely be interesting to know. But yeah, that's my little recap of the Steve Wilkos show. I'll have another one for you guys on Wednesday when I go to Sherry Shepherd. I think Sherry Shepherd might be my last one of this calendar year, because I think all the other shows... Rachel Ray was the one that I was trying to think of and I couldn't remember. But anyways, I think all the other shows are going to be off and for the Christmas break. They do all their holiday tapings. Like, they cut them off at the end of the first week of December. I think some of them might go into the second week of December, but most of them are cut off in the first week, and it's hard to get tickets for these ones because holiday shows usually do holiday giveaways. So that's the reason why a lot of people like to go to TV sets during the December tapings, because they get free gifts. I've gotten a couple of free gifts. Usually when I go, though, what I usually have been getting is books, which is cool, but I've seen people get better gifts than books before. I'm glad that you shared that about Wildin' Out. Also about Wildin' Out, they made it look like it was in a bar or like a nightclub or something. It was in a factory that they just manufactured to look like a club or a bar setting on camera. There's no alcohol in there. They put pictures that have fake ice in them. They put fake champagne glasses that don't have anything in them. Funny true story. a funny and true story about when I was at Wild 'N Out. I went to the Wild 'N Out show. When I went to the Wild 'N Out show, I was there with a friend, a female friend. It was just a friend, not somebody that I was dating or anything, but a friend that used to come to these shows with me. And Wild 'N Out production picks out who they're gonna put in the front row or on the stage based on aesthetics, aka people they think are good looking, they put on the stage or they put in the front, and they pick them out before you get in there, make them sign waivers and all that stuff. So they were going around. First they pick out the women, of course, because they're like, okay, we want the eye candy to definitely be in the front or whatever. And then, so I remember production came up to me and was like, oh, are you with her? Because production was going to put me in the front. And for a second, I considered going and being like, hey, we'll meet up with each other after this is done. But I was like, it's not even worth her being mad at me for that. So I was like, yeah, I'm with her. So they were like, all right, if you want to go up by yourself, we have a spot for you up front. But if you're with her, and she was so pissed at that. But yeah, it wasn't a club. It was like a really cold factory. Seats were uncomfortable. It was so long. The taping was so long. The first segment they did, or one of the first segments they did, was like, if you know the family reunion, at the family reunion, who you introducing, who we introducing. They did that whole segment. And then a lady came over to Nick Cannon, a lady in production, and she whispered in his ear. And Nick was like, production just said, all y'all jokes aren't funny, so we're going to have to redo all them stuff. So they huddled up. Some of them actually picked a different audience member to do the family reunion thing about. They redid the entire segment. You think Wild Style is like 2 minutes long? Wild Style is not like 2 minutes. Wild Style is like 15, 20 minutes. Half the time is just like dead air where they don't know what to say during the freestyle battle. Half the time is just, they're just like, the beat is going and nobody knows what to say. Production is an amazing thing, y'all. Production is an amazing thing. That's why I find it funny when these Big Brother people are like, production made this seem like this and made that seem like that. It's like, to be honest with y'all, the most realistic rendition that you're going to get of anything is probably Big Brother, despite the fact that they do cut some things out. And I know they prompt certain things in a way when you go to the diary room, but we have hours and hours and hours to watch these live discussions. So a lot of times people just get caught with egg on their face. I do sympathize with them, because none of us would really want cameras on us 24/7. But that was just my little thing about Wild 'N Out, since you mentioned that, Victoria and Shy. Yeah, so I will talk to y'all later. Later on, I'm probably going to be coming on to recap my interview with Wes. Not just recap the interview itself, because I will be dropping that for the public on Friday. My members and also people who have seen the discussion live already saw it, but it's not public yet. It will be on Friday, so I'm not really going to be going in depth about that interview, but I will just be talking about a little bit about the process, how I got in communication with Wes, how I got the interview, things that I learned from it. Just a little bit of a breakdown that I'm probably going to do this evening, maybe like 6 or 7 in the evening. Hi D. That's great. Love Sherry Shepherd. So I'll talk to you guys later. And if you haven't yet, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to get notified of when I drop some more great content. Talk to y'all later.